We are here to mark the beginning of our journey to Washington. And this is fitting because it was here in this city that our American journey began. It was here that a group of farmers and lawyers, merchants and soldiers gathered to declare their independence and lay claim to a destiny that they were being denied. Now, it was a risky thing, meeting as they did in that summer of 1776. There was no guarantee that their fragile experiment would find success. More than once in those early years did the odds seem insurmountable. More than once did the fishermen, laborers, and craftsmen who called themselves an army face the prospect of defeat. And yet they were willing to put all they were and all they had on the line: their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor for a set of ideals that continue to light the world. That we are equal, that our rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness come not from our laws, but from our Maker. And that a government of, by, and for the people can endure. It was these ideals that led us to declare independence and craft our Constitution, producing documents that were imperfect, but had within them, like our nation itself, the capacity to be made perfect. We're here today not simply to pay tribute to our first patriots, but to take up the work that they began. The trials we face are very different now, but they are severe in their own right. Only a handful of times in our history has a generation been confronted with challenges so vast. An economy that's faltering, 2 wars, one that needs to be ended responsibly, one that needs to be waged wisely, a planet that is warming from our unsustainable dependence on oil. And yet, while our problems may be new, what is required to overcome them is not. What's required is the same perseverance and idealism that our founders displayed. What's required is a new declaration of independence, not just in our nation, but in our own lives. Independence from ideology and small thinking. Independence from prejudice and bigotry. Independence from selfishness. An appeal not to our easy instincts, but to our better angels. That's the reason I launched my campaign for the presidency nearly 2 years ago. I did so in the belief that the most fundamental American ideal, that a better life is in store for all those people who are willing to work for it, was slipping out of reach. The belief that Washington was serving the interests of the few and not the many, and that our politics had grown too small for the scale of the challenges we faced. We recognize that such enormous challenges as we face today will not be solved quickly. There will be false starts and setbacks. There will be frustrations and disappointments. And we will be called to show patience, even as we act with fierce urgency. But we should never forget that we are the heirs of that first band of patriots. We are the heirs of those who declared independence, ordinary men and women who refused to give up when it all seemed so improbable, and who somehow believed that they had the power to make the world anew. That's the spirit that we must reclaim today. For the American Revolution did not end when the British guns fell silent. It was never something to be won only on a battlefield or fulfilled only in our founding documents. It was not simply a struggle to break free from empire and declare independence. The American Revolution was and remains an ongoing struggle in the minds and hearts of the people to live up to our founding creed. So starting now, let's take up in our own lives the work of perfecting our union. Let's build a government that's responsible to the people, Let's accept our own responsibilities as citizens to hold our government accountable. Let all of us do our part to rebuild this country. Let's make sure this election is not the end of what we do to change America, but just the beginning. Join me in this effort. Join one another in this effort. And together, mindful of our proud history and hopeful for the future, let's seek a better world in our time. Thank you, Philadelphia. Love you guys. Thank you.